Hello students, our today's topic is use of logarithmic tables. This is our fourth video based on the topic. In this video, we are going to learn use of logarithmic table for mathematical operations like a multiplication, division, finding square root or power of any number. But there is a limitation for the use of logarithmic table. Addition or subtraction between two numbers is not done using log method. Now, student, we should know the rule of logarithm for performing mathematical operation. So let's learn these rules for each case. Multiplication by using log table. Logarithmic rule for the multiplication is a into b is equal to log of a into b is equal to log of a plus log of b. To understand it more, we have one numerical example. A rectangle of length 89.7 cm and a breadth 58.4 cm. What is area of the rectangle? Formula: area of a rectangle A is equal to length into breadth. Logarithmic rule for multiplication is log of L into B is equal to log of L plus log of B. Let's substitute the value in the rule. Log of 89.7 plus log of 58.4. Now student, let's write this log in the tabular form. Now we have a symbol as a length, breadth and area. Their corresponding values as 89.7, 58.4. Now let's find out the log value of the given numbers. To find the log value, we know student we should know the characteristic of the number and the mantissa. Now let's find out first the characteristic of the number. Length is 89.7. As it is a two-digit number, the characteristic of the given number is 1. Now let's find out its mantissa. For that, let's consider 89 in the very first row. For that, let's consider 89 in the very first column. Along the 89 row, observe value under 7 column. So the log value is 1.9528, where 1 is the characteristic of the given number and 0.9528 is the mantissa. Next number is 58.4. Again, the given number is a two-digit number, hence its characteristic is 1. Let's find out its mantissa. For that, consider 58 in the very first column. Along the 58 row, observe value under the fourth column. The value is 1.7664. Again, 1 is the characteristic and 0.7664 is the mantissa of the given number. Now student, whenever you have a multiplication of a two number and you solve that multiplication with the help of log, you have to add their log. When I add their log, the value comes out as a 3.7192. Again student, 3 represents the characteristic of the addition of the two log value and 0.7192 is the mantissa part of the addition of log value. So we know student, whenever we see the log value, we have to find its corresponding antilog value, because antilog give you the given number in its original form. Student, I suggest you to watch my previous video for the clear understanding of a mantissa and the characteristic log antilog. Now let's go for the antilog. Now let's find out the antilog of a 3.7192. When I find the antilog of the given log, I have to just consider the mantissa part and not the characteristic part. So 3.7192, out of that I just consider the mantissa part 7192. For that, what I have to do, I have to consider 0.71 in the very first column. Along the 71 row, I observe value under the 9 column. Then I add mean difference along the row of 71 in the second column. The value is 0.5238. But still I have to consider the characteristic part. The characteristic of the given number in the Antilog represent as the power of 10. So I write it as a 10 raised to 3. Into that I need to add 1. The reason why I add 1 in the characteristic you will understand. For that again I suggest you student to watch my previous video. So here I can write the given number as a 0.5238 into 10 raised to 4. From that, I can say that area of rectangle is 5238 centimeter square. The given number 0.5238 I multiply with the 10 raised to 4. So the value it comes out as a 5238 centimeter square. Now student, let's understand division by using log table. For that, the logarithmic rule is a divided by b is equal to log of a divided by b is equal to log of a minus log of b. Now let's understand again it with one numerical example. A race car covers 32.5 kilometer distance in 0.44 hour. What is the speed of the car? Formula: speed is equal to distance upon time, which denote with the symbol as d divided by t. Logarithmic rule for division: log of d divided by t is equal to log of d minus log of t. Let's substitute the value. Log of 32.5 minus log of 0.45. Now let's again represent the given value in the tabular form. Distance is a 32.5 and time is a 0.45. Now let's find their log values. To find the log value, you should know the characteristic and mantissa of the given number. The number is a 32.5. The given number is a two-digit number. Hence, the characteristic of the number is 1. Now, student, let's observe the mantissa part of the given number. Let's consider student 32 in the very first column. Along the 32 row, observe value under the fifth column. So the value is 1.5119, where the 1 is characteristic, 0.5119 is the mantissa. Now let's go for the time value, which is 0.45. Now the given number 0.45 is less than 1. Hence the characteristic of that number should be negative, which is represented in terms of a bar. So the characteristic of this number is bar 1. Since only 1 0 is present before the first non-zero digit. So the characteristic again I repeat as a bar 1. Let's find out its mantissa. For that I consider the 45 in the very first column. Along the 45 row I consider the value under the 0th column. So the complete log value along with the characteristic is bar 1.6532. Whenever you have a division of the two number with the help of log, you have to subtract the value of the log of the given numbers. Now you can see you have a subtraction 1.5119 minus bar 1.6532. As I already mentioned to you, student, bar 1 is represent as a minus. As I already explained you, student, bar 1 is minus 1. The minus 1 just represent in the form of bar 1. So whenever you have a subtraction sign which is a negative and the bar 1 which is a minus 1, that minus will become plus. So you have to do regular subtraction of the given number including characteristic. But only thing is that your lower characteristic, which is a bar 1, it comes as a positive. The reason I explain you, student, the negative sign, that is a subtraction, and that of the minus 1, that is a bar 1, become minus minus plus. Let's understand one thing, student. In the given log value bar 1.6532, only characteristic is negative. Mantissa part 0.6532 is not negative. So you have to do the regular subtraction. Only thing is that wherever you have a bar 1 and before that there is a subtraction, so that subtraction and the minus 1 or the negative will become plus. So when you do the subtraction, you have the value as a 1.6, you have a value as a 1.8587. Now let's find out its antilog. To find out its antilog, you have to observe the 8.85 in the very first column. Along the 85 row, observe value under the 8th column, and then add mean difference along the 82 row under the 7th column. When you do this, you have the antilog value as a 0.7223. Now the characteristic is represent as a power of 10, which is 10 raised to 1. Into that I need to add 1. So the value is 0.7223 into 10 raised to 2. When I multiply it with the 10 raised to 2, the given value will be the 72.23. So the speed of the car is 72.23 kilometer per hour. Now finding power by using log table. For that, rule is a raised to n is equal to log of a raised to n is equal to n into log of a. What is a what is a cross section area of a wire of radius 0.012? Formula: A is equal to pi r square, because we know that the cross sectional area of the wire is the circle, so its area is pi r square. Rule: logarithmic rule: log of pi into r square is equal to log of pi plus 2 into log of r. Let's substitute the value. Log of 3.142, which is the value of a pi, plus 2 into log of 0.012. Now student, let's find out the characteristic and mantissa of given number. Initially, let's find out the log value for the pi. Here you can see the 3.142 is a one-digit number. So the characteristic of that number is 0. Let's find out its mantissa. For that, I consider 31 in the very first column. Along the 31 row, I observe the value under the fourth column, and then along the same 31 row, I add the mean difference under the second column. So that value is 0.4972. 0 is the characteristic of the number and 0.4972 is the mantissa. Plus, now let's go for the r value, that is the radius value, which is 0.012. Now you can see, student, over here the given number is less than 1. So characteristic should be negative, which represent in the form of a bar. For finding the characteristic for such a number, you have to count the number of zeros before first non-zero digit. The first non-zero digit is 1. Before that, there are 2 zeros. Hence, the characteristic of a 0.012 is bar 2. Now, let's find the 12 under the 0th column, which is 0.792. Now, write this value 2 into bar 2.0792. Now student, before I solve it, I have to multiply the bar 2.0792 with the 2. including characteristic. Even though it is a negative, you have to multiply it as a regular multiplication. So you will have the value like this, bar 4.1584. Next to that, you have to do the addition of the two log values, since between the pi and r square there is a multiplication, and by the rule of logarithm you have to add the given log when the multiplication operation over there. Now see student, here I do the regular addition of the number except the characteristic. Here the characteristic is bar 4, that is minus 4. So you have to treat it as a minus 4. Whenever you have the carrier over the 0, you have to subtract it from the minus 4, because the carrier is a positive and that of a value is negative. But for the given example, there is no any carrier, so that you have to write this value as it is, as a bar 4. Why I not write this value as a positive 4, which I consider in the previous case? In the previous case, there was a subtraction, that the minus, subtraction minus, and that of the minus 4, minus minus become as a plus. But here is a no case. Here you have a positive or addition of the number, positive sign, and that of the characteristic is negative, so that your final characteristic consider as a bar only or negative, which is negative 4. Now students, let's find out the antilog. For that I just have to consider the mantissa part, which is 0.6556. So I consider 0.65 in the very first column. Along the 65 row, I observe value under the fifth column, and then I consider the value in the mean difference along the same 65 row under the which column? Sixth column. When I add these two, the value is 0.4525 into 10 raised to minus 4, which is represent the characteristic of the number. Into that I need to add 1. So the value becomes as a 0.4525 into 10 raised to minus 3. Hence the area of cross section is 0.4525 into 10 raised to minus 3 centimeter square. Finding square root by using log table. Square root of a is equal to log of a raised to half is equal to half of log a. For that, let's consider the value square root of 7486, which is represented as 7486 raised to half. Rule: log of a raised to half is equal to half of log of a. Substitute value: log of 7486 raised to half is equal to half of log 7486. Now students, let's find out the characteristic and the mantissa for the given number. The given number is a 4-digit number, hence its characteristic is 3. Now let's find its mantissa. For that, you can see student, I consider the 74 in the very first column. Along the 74 row, I observe value under 8 column. Then I add the mean difference along the same 74 row under the sixth column. Now this value comes out as a 3.8742, where the 3 is the characteristic and the 0.8742 is the mantissa of given number. Now let's divide the given number by 2, including characteristic. When you divide it, the value comes as a 1.9371. Now need to find out its antilog. Now antilog value. For that, I consider 0.933 in the very first column. Along the 93 row, I observe the value under 7th column. Then I add mean difference along the same row under the first column. The value is 0.8652. Power of 10, that is 10 raised to 1, represents characteristic. Into that I need to add 1. So the value is 86.52. When I multiply the given number 0.8652 into 10 raised to 2, that will become as 86.52. Now, one numerical for the practice. The radius of a sphere is 1.46 centimeter. Calculate the volume of the sphere by using logarithmic table. Formula: V is equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube, which is equal to 4 by 3 into 3.142 into 1.46 raised to 3. So I just write the given log values in the form of log rule. So log of 4 plus log of 3.142 plus log of 3 into log of 1.46. Since it is a 10 raised to 3, so you have to write is as a 3 into log of 1.46 minus of log 3, because the 3 is in a denominator. So you have to subtract it. So students, solve it. You have to more practice for the log. When you go for the more practice of the log, then it is very easy. You will come to know that use of this log table is very much easy. But if you not practice it, it will be difficult for you. So I suggest you student, take any random numerical and with that numerical start using log table, solve it. Thank you.